As we continue to witness more violent storms, more floods, hotter summers, more people are recognizing the urgency to slow climate change. But the solutions to do that remain pretty out of reach. For one, it turns out it's really hard to rebuild our fossil fuels-based electricity system into a carbon-free one. New York State just took a step back and delayed its plans to move towards more carbon-free electricity. One problem, people don't want the solutions in their backyard. Wind turbines, solar panels, all have faced stiff opposition. So has battery storage, a critical component in a green grid. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, June 22nd. Thanks so much to Kara Chapman and Catherine Wheeler for filling in while I was away. First up, primary day is tomorrow in New York State. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. A key race in the North Country is for the 21st Congressional District. Two Democrats are running against each other in that primary, St. Lawrence County farmer Blake Gendabine and Lake Placid restaurant owner Stuart Amaral. On the Republican side, Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino is facing off against State Assemblyman Robert Smullen. As Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network, that Republican primary is turning into a test of President Trump's political clout in New York.
Jim Zecca came to a rally for Anthony Constantino with an oversized cutout of President Trump's head. Zecca says he likes Assemblymember Robert Smullen, a Marine veteran who is also running to succeed Congressmember Elise Stefanik in representing the North Country. But Trump's backing of first-time candidate Constantino sealed the deal.
For me, I felt that was very important, a very important endorsement, and President Trump needs people, fighters like Anthony.
The contest between Smullen and Constantino is shaping up to be a test of Trump's sway among GOP voters versus local party leaders who are backing Smullen. Utica University political science professor Luke Perry says it's an obvious contrast.
Clear sort of insider candidate, Robert Smullen, who's come up through state government after a career in the military, against Anthony Constantino, who's sort of unorthodox businessman, politician, a la Trump, whose endorsement he got.
Constantino first gained attention when he put up a giant Vote for Trump sign on the factory of his online printing company. The president mentioned it in an endorsement that Constantino touts.
I'm excited to be supported by President Trump and most of all by the voters.
Smullen stood with local party leaders. He says Constantino isn't qualified.
We are the face of the Republican primary, and I think that Republican primary voters need to see that. Character counts.
Primary day is Tuesday. In Gloversville, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
New York State has its eye on hosting another Winter Olympics. The village of Lake Placid would host many of the outdoor events like downhill and cross-country skiing, while New York City would host arena events like figure skating and hockey. It would be the third time Lake Placid has hosted the Winter Games, with the last time being the legendary 1980 Olympics. John Campbell reports for the New York Public News Network.
Governor Hochul launched a committee to study whether New York City and Lake Placid could host the 2042 Games. She's using the recent Olympics in Italy as inspiration. Milan hosted the arena-based competitions like hockey and figure skating, while the ski and sled events were held a few hours away in Cortina. The exploratory committee will examine whether something similar is feasible in New York, where Lake Placid has the ski facilities and there's no shortage of arenas downstate. The committee includes members of Hochul's administration as well as the deputy mayors from New York City and Lake Placid. It'll be a lengthy process. The International Olympic Committee hasn't laid out the bidding procedure for 2042. In Albany, I'm John Campbell for the New York Public News Network.
There's growing opposition to battery storage sites in the Adirondacks. State officials say large-scale batteries are key to stabilizing the energy grid, but small towns in the park are pushing back. Emily Russell reports.
New York's power comes from a lot of different places. There's natural gas plants and nuclear plants. There's hydro, wind, and solar. The complex system powers homes and businesses across the state. But the system is outdated, says Jennifer Manier. She's the director of clean energy siting at NYSERDA, the state's energy authority. She spoke earlier this month with the Adirondack Park Agency Board.
So our grid is very, very old. It's decades and decades old. It needs upgrades. There's reliability concerns, and energy storage can help address some of those concerns, right, with our aging grid.
Manier's presentation to the board was specifically about battery storage sites. As demand for power in New York rises, the state sees battery sites as key to stabilizing the grid. Right now, when demand exceeds supply, power is pulled from peaker plants that are expensive and burn fossil fuels. The state's original goal was to have 1,500 megawatts of energy storage by 2025. To date, it has less than 550 megawatts. But Manier told the APA board that battery storage systems are out there, from small-scale ones in homes to large-scale industrial sites.
It's in your communities. You can see it's all across the state, not in equal measure, but it's everywhere. It's just that it wasn't such a hot topic before.
That is, before a few of the large-scale battery storage sites in New York caught fire.
There was another battery storage fire in Warwick. Flames broke out at a battery storage facility Friday on Church Street.
Warwick is a small town in Westchester County. There was also a fire at a battery site in Jefferson County a few years ago. While fires at battery storage sites are increasingly rare, those incidents have sparked real opposition, especially in the Adirondacks. Violet Martin has been a leading voice in that opposition. She runs a Facebook page called No Battery Storage in the ADK. It has nearly 4,000 members. She spoke during the public comment section of the recent APA meeting about battery energy storage sites, which are known as BESS.
I have personally taken it upon myself to reach out to every single town in the Adirondack Park to encourage BESS discussion, along with establishing BESS zoning and local laws before developers come knocking.
Developers had been eyeing a new battery storage site on private property in Northampton in the southern Adirondacks, where Martin has vacationed for decades. The APA approved a permit for the site, but then came the public pushback. Northampton, which includes the village of Northville, ended up passing a year-long moratorium on battery sites. Other Adirondack towns have passed similar temporary bans, including Ticonderoga, Johnstown, Indian Lake, and Lake Luzerne. Jamie Lowson has been a local firefighter in the town of Webb, which includes Old Forge, for 50 years. Earlier this month, he encouraged the town board to pass a moratorium, saying the local fire crews aren't prepared to deal with a battery fire.
We do not have the manpower, the equipment, the resources to handle an emergency in such a confined area of a battery storage facility. An explosion or fire would be beyond our means.
There are safeguards in place. For example, the companies that own battery storage sites must pay to train and outfit local fire departments with special equipment. The state fire code was also tightened last year in response to the recent fires. Companies are now required to have pre-incident plans and to visit the battery sites every year. At the Town of Webb's meeting earlier this month, Councilman Mike Ross spoke out against battery projects. He said he thought the moratorium should be even longer than the one proposed.
I don't think we should have it. I think a year probably should even go longer.
Yep. After a few more locals spoke out against battery storage sites at that meeting, the town board unanimously passed the year-long moratorium. Here's the Town of Webb's supervisor, Tom Greco.
Town Board of the Town of Webb finds it necessary to adopt a temporary moratorium specifically targeting the construction, installation, and operation of new off-premises commercial lithium-ion battery energy storage systems.
NYSERDA said it reaches out to every town that passes a moratorium. The state's energy authority has fire safety consultants that can chat with local officials about battery storage. But ultimately, the decision lies in the hands of local towns, their planning and zoning boards, and the local residents who make their voices heard. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Lost in Beijing of Keene and Rockberry of Watertown. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.